Hi everyone, this is Usha Pandit, your Mind Springs English teacher. Today I am going to do with you a very useful topic. It's called creating tension in adventure and mystery stories. Okay? All of you at some stage in the middle school and possibly in high school are asked to write adventure stories. You certainly read a lot of adventure stories. Your textbooks are full of stories where there is river rafting or somebody stuck on a mountain or someone is stuck in a cave. Those stories are very, very popular. So today I thought, let me show you how to create tension. In an adventure story or even in adventure movies or what they call thrillers, what keeps us glued to our seats is tension. We feel one with the protagonist or the actor, and we start feeling the kind of emotions that the man feels or the woman feels, and that is what makes us completely absorbed in the stories. How can we create that in our own writing? That's what I'm going to show you. It's all coming from Writing with Ease. If you haven't got a copy, make sure you buy one either from Amazon or from our website www.mindsprings.in. Remember, it's a reference book, so don't look for exercises in it, but you'll get a huge amount of vocabulary. You will get all the genres, and all that I'm going to teach you today is there in that book and more actually. So let's get straight into the show. So what are we looking at? When we talk of tension, so I'm just talking about tension, you need to create what is called acceleration. Acceleration means like you accelerate a car. You need to drive it at full speed. So people think, oh my God, they're going to crash, right? Adventure stories need to accelerate. You might have an atmosphere around a thriller, right? It can either be dark or it can be speed or it can be fear, but an atmosphere is created. Sometimes it's a very thick atmosphere that keeps you completely absorbed. And you accelerate at a speed where people are literally holding on to their seats. And you have the body language of fear. Now you are going through that adventure, your reader is not. Your reader is sitting in a comfortable armchair eating chips and on a holiday, hardly in a state of fear, hardly in a state of acceleration, completely passive. How are you going to move that mind to a state of fear, to a state of what you call full alert, to a state of panic attack? How are you going to give this person a panic attack? Fight or flight response. What is a flight response? So when you are, confronted with something that is fearful, human beings have two responses. One is flight, you run, and the other is fight, you stand and you attack back. There are only two responses. So these responses are what you will play with in your adventure stories or in your mystery stories. This is what you want to play with. And finally, how do you do it? You do it with a lot of action verbs. There are a whole bunch of very important action verbs that are there in the book and which you can draw from in order to write your stories. For example, words like hurtled or words like shuddered, froze. All these are very strong verbs and they will help you to write your stories better. The other thing that you will use is poetic devices. Poetic devices is not just for poetry, isn't it? We learn all these devices in poetry like your simile, metaphor, personification, but that's not just meant for identifying and labeling them in an examination. You can use all those poetic devices in your writing and get fabulous marks. So it's very important to know what they are. A simile, as you know, is like to like. The night was dark like a monster, or the clouds sat on the mountains and watched the huddled village. See, you can use adjectives also. But when you have a big black cloud sitting on the mountain watching, there is a certain thrill, there is a certain fear that you experience. And what is a metaphor? Metaphor is saying life is a journey. So life and journey are put together, and the qualities of life and the qualities of the journey come together. If I say life is a brick, if I say life is butter, it will change everything. Life is butter, it will have some wisdom. People will start thinking and saying, life is butter, which means it melts, which means it's insubstantial, which means it's oily. You can think many things. So that's how metaphors work. Metaphors are very good to create fear, because they bring in various things and put it into fear. Emotions can be beautifully used in metaphors. And then you have personification. Like I told you, the cloud sitting like a monster is a personification. Because cloud is a lifeless thing, but I have personified it. I have given it human characteristics. So let me show you some phrases now that are absolutely stunning. I've taken most of these phrases from children's work. I've got tons of phrases in Writing with Ease, and I want you to hear them and I want you to think about them. Okay? So here we go. So the first one I've got is, eyes flew to the door. See? Now if you're in a state of fright, if someone comes through the door, let's say you've been caught and you're put in a dungeon and someone opens the door, your eyes are barely going to look at the door, your eyes are barely going to slowly go to the door, your eyes are going to fly to the door. So flew to the door, eyes again flying to the door is a device. It's almost got, eyes are of course alive, but then the flew is like a bird. So there is a metaphor attached to it. People scuttled. So if you are looking at a panic-stricken, let us say a bomb scare or something like that, people scuttled. Scuttled is almost like crabs in a panic, running here and there. You have an aerial view and you'll have people just scuttling, running like little crabs all over the place. Now you can also do people crawled. People are crawling, then of course it's not the same as panic. It's got a more slow kind of scared, that somebody will catch them, silent and crawling. That can be it. Now people can gallop, people can stampede. There are many verbs. See, there are strong verbs that you need to use. Okay? A shuffle of footsteps. Sometimes the adventure stories are not loud. Sometimes they are silent. They are dark, they are silent, they are menacing. So if I say a shuffle of footsteps, so if I'm sitting in a dungeon, in a dark dungeon, it doesn't always have to be a door opening, it can be a shuffle of footsteps that can strike fear into my heart. Shuffle, soft sounds. Stop. I stopped mid-sentence. I stopped mid-thought. Anything that stops in the middle of something is something that will put you on alert. So that's a good one to use. Eyes locked on. So if your eyes lock on to something, it can mean many things. One is you might be greedy, it might lock on to a diamond, or it might lock on to some kind of a weird monster that walked in, something that is so alien, something that is so fearful, something that is so threatening that your eyes may lock on to it. That try as you might, you can't pull your eyes away because you are fascinated and at the same time terrified. These are the kind of emotional weights that we want to see in good writing. Why am I saying this to you? I am actually explaining to you how phrases are powerful because they hold layers of meaning. Fear latched on to me. Now fear again here is personified. Imagine fear latching on to you. It's almost like fear has got onto your back and will not come down now. Fear latched onto me like a vice. What does it mean? It's got all evil connotations. See, latched, vice, fear, all negatives. Your head snapped in the direction of the sound. Look at this word snapped. Not your head turned, but your head snapped. It's almost like it's cut. There is a cut in the way in which you have moved from one position to another. There is a suddenness. There is a certain jerk there. Head snapped in the direction of the sound or in the direction of the light or whatever it is that has changed the scenario. Clenched his jaw. He clenched his jaw. This word clenched has got not just the sound but also the feel of suppressed, latent violence. That is why it's such a powerful word, clenched. Good word to use. Walled in. You feel walled in, or you feel that the walls are closing in on you. That's a good way of writing that you are feeling claustrophobic. A good way of saying that you feel trapped. I felt walled in. Imagine if there were walls all around you. That's the feeling that you get when you are incarcerated, when you are put in a place and there is no escape. Okay? Your feet buckled. That is, you could no longer hold your own weight because of the fear, because of the tension, because of the complete hopelessness of the situation. You saw something can charge towards you. This word charge is another very good verb. Charge towards you. There's a certain energy in the word charged that you should use instead of using this word run. Ran towards me. Charged, fled. These are good words to use. Now if you are sad, then tears streamed down my face. Not ran down my face, streamed down my face. And you can storm out. So the creature can storm out because you are unwilling to give the secret that is due to him. Panic fogged my brain. Fogged. If your brain is in a fog, then you can't think straight. And when does that happen but when you are in a panic? Fogged my brain. Heart clamored up to her throat. Imagine your heart clamoring up. So you are here personifying the heart. You are saying that it has the characteristic of something that is climbing up in quick, sort of a quick sort of fear, and it goes up like this, clamored up to your throat. So then the heart can either jump or the heart can clamor up to your throat. There is a sort of kind of rising tension in those words. Drew a labored breath. Very nice. Labored. See? Labored is when you cannot breathe properly. Labored breath. Good word. Right? Your heart can also shimmy. Shimmy up the rope of fear. Metaphor. If you have a rope of fear and your heart is shimmying up. Shimmying up is again a sort of a movement that shows a very quick alacrity. Shimmying up the rope of fear. These are great ways of expressing fear. I mean, expressing fear, expressing adventure, and that's the kind of language, that's the kind of phrasing that will give you those fantastic marks. So I hope this was a great lesson in how to create tension in your stories. And when you write them, or if you have more phrases, don't forget to put them in my comments box. Don't forget to get Writing with Ease. That's where you'll find a lot of great language. Reference book, not an exercise book. So don't buy it and say, oh, there are no exercises in it, because there aren't. It's a reference book. You'll get words, you'll get phrases, you'll get genres, you'll get all that stuff that I told you about. So make sure you get a copy. Till we meet again, keep smiling.